So good morning. So in our last class, we were discussing the recovery concepts for database failures. So the recovery of databases happens through log files. So there are some other concepts related to it. So they are steal, no steal, force, and no force. So these specify how to flush the database cache buffers into database on the disk. So in steal method, the cache buffers are updated by a transaction. They will be flushed to disk before a transaction performs the commit operation. So if this operation is performed in recovery phase, undo operation might be performed to reverse it. In no steal method, the cache buffers cannot be flushed until after the transaction commits. So here, after the commit, the flush will happen. So before that, so the commit operation will not be happening. So since the cache is flushed after the commit operation, so undo operation might not be required. So but here the buffers will be pinned till the transaction performs commit operation. So in force method, cache is flushed to disk before a transaction commits. So here again, here redo operation might not be required. In no force, some cache flushing may be deferred till completion of transaction commit operation. So here in no force, some transaction recovery may need redo operations. So these give rise to four different ways of handling the database recovery. So that is steal, no steal, steal bar force, no steal, no force, no steal, and force. So the different four combinations um, are possible in recovery. Suppose if the system uses no steal rule, then the recovery subsystem analyzes the log and create two additional lists. So one is the active transaction list. So all active transactions that are uncommitted, so they will be entered in active transaction list, and in committed transaction list, here the transactions that are committed after the last checkpoint are entered in this particular list. So during the recovery of phase, so transactions in committed list are redone and the transactions in the active list are ignored, because in no steal rule, none of their rights have been applied to database disk. So no need to do anything about that particular list. So some transaction may be redone twice. This doesn't create inconsistency because redo is idempotent. So that is one redo for an AFIM is equivalent to multiple redo at the same IFIM. So redo operations will not, change the end result. So the advantages of this no steal is only redo operation is required during the database recovery, but it comes with certain disadvantages. That is, many buffers have to be pinned while waiting for transactions that are updated to commit. So the system may run out of cache buffers when the requests are made by a new transactions. So because until and unless the commit operation happens, so the data will reside in the buffer itself. So buffer may overflow at some point of time and there might be no space on buffer for new transactions. So in force method, so in force rule, if it is imposed, all AFIM transactions are flushed to database on a disk under write ahead logging before the transaction commits. So the transaction in active list are undone. So transaction in committed list are ignored. Because based on force rule, all the changes are already there on the disk. So here during the recovery phase, only undo operation is required. So for those transactions that are there in the active list, which are not committed. So the disadvantage of this force rule is that, so a commit of a transaction is delayed until all its changes are forced written onto the disk. So some buffers may be returned to disk multiple times if they are updated by several transactions. So recovery can require both um, undo and redo operations. So few transaction for undo and other few for redo operations. So corresponding to whether we use a steal or no force method. So used most often in practice this method because of disadvantage of the other two methods. So to minimize redo, checkpointing method is used. So the recovery operation performs undo of a transaction if it is in the active transaction list and redo of a transaction if it is in the list of transaction that committed since the last checkpoint. So next another concept we have, that is shadow paging. So here no undo operation or no redo operation is performed. So here AFIM doesn't override BFIM, but it is recorded at another place, a new version on a disk. Thus, a data item can have AFIM and BFIM. It's the shadow copy at two different places on the disk. So here in the database itself, there are X and Y. At the same time, we have X dash and Y dash. Whereas X and Y are the old copies and X dash and Y dash are the current copies, are the new copies. So the old copy is also called as a shadow. So that's why it is called as shadow paging. So if there are conflicting um, operations on a data item, so then shadow paging is utilized. So here this is used when after image and before image data are recorded here. So AFIM stands for after image and BFIM stands for before image, which we discussed in the previous class. So here is a example of shadow paging. So the current directory, here we have 6 entries. So database disk blocks are pages here, and the shadow directory, so it is not updated. So here for each page, so page 1, so it is present in the second block, and at the same time it is present in the shadow. So the directory is similar to the page table that is maintained by the operating system for each process. So here also for each database block, the pages are maintained with a flag whether it is a new or old. So for example, here page 2, we consider old one is present here, new one is present here. So this old one is being pointed to this one. Shadow directory is block number 2, it is pointed to old one, whereas the current directory second one is pointing to this new one. So both of them will be pointing to different block on a database disk. So which means there may be multiple disk blocks for a particular page. One is for old one, another one is for new one. Whereas the current directory always points to the new one and the shadow directory will point to the old one. So we have another database recovery protocol, that is ARIES. ARIS. So ARIS stands for algorithm for recovery and isolation exploiting semantics. So this is the full form. So it was designed to support the need of industrial strength transaction processing systems. So this particular ARIS protocol uses logs to record the progress of transaction and their action, which cause changes to recoverable uh, database objects. So here it is based on write ahead logging and it repeating history during the redo operation. So that is ARIS will retrace all the actions that are performed by a transaction on a database prior to the crash, when the database crashes, to reconstruct the correct database state. So logging changes during the undo operation. So it will prevent ARIS, this algorithm, from repeating the completed undo operation if a failure occurs during recovery, which causes a restart of recovery process. So this ARIS recovery algorithm contains three steps. So analysis, redo, and undo. So in analysis phase, ARIS protocol will identify the updated page buffer. So they are also called as a dirty page buffers in the cache memory and set of transactions that are active at the time of the crash. So the set of transactions that committed after the last checkpoint is also determined. And appropriate point in the log where the redo operation is to start is determined by looking at the log file and the set of transactions that are committed after the last checkpoint and those that are there in the buffer. So all the things will be consolidated and this particular algorithm will determine from where it has to redo the operations. Once it is determined from where the redo operations must be performed so that the database can be brought into the consistent state or in the correct state. So once that is determined, the redo step will do all the redo operations on a database by looking at the database log file. Then undo operations will be done. So this is again done by performing the scan of the log file and back, it is a backward, the reverse operations are applied. So it is applied for those transactions that are active at the time of the crash are undone in the reverse order. And these transactions gets aborted. Those transactions have to be restarted once again when when the database becomes consistent. So here it is based on the log and log sequence number. So a log record is written for each database update or write operation when a transaction commits, when transaction aborts, or when a transaction does undo operation and when the transaction ends. So all these details will be present in a log record. So in the case of undo operation, a compensating log record is also written. So when the undo operations are done, that is also mentioned in the log file. So a unique LSN, the log sequence number, it is associated with every log record. So LSN increases monotonically and indicates the disk address of the log record it is associated with. So it is not just a number, it is also the address of a log record. So in addition, each data page stores the log sequence number of the latest log record corresponding to the change that has happened in that particular page. So the log and log sequence number. So a log record stores the LSN of the previous log record for the same transaction. It links the log record in each transaction. So each transaction will perform certain tasks. Those tasks will be mentioned in the log, and each log entry will have a log sequence number, and it will also have a link for the previous log record of that particular transaction. So transaction ID is also mentioned in the log record, and the type of the log record will be also be there, whether it is update operation or insert operation or delete operation that is being performed in the transaction. So for a write operation, additional informations will be written. That is the page ID. So the page that includes the data item, length of the updated item, its offset from the beginning of the page, then before image of the item and after image of the item. That is the old value and new value. So all these things are additionally stored for the write operation. For efficient recovery, certain tables are used by this ARIS protocol uh, during the log checkpointing. So one is the transaction table. So this transaction table contains an entry for each active transaction with information such as its transaction ID, its status, and the last sequence number of the log, and most recent log record of that particular transaction. So dirty page table is also maintained. So it contains an entry for each dirty page. Dirty page indicates it is a buffer that is there in the cache, which includes the page ID and LSN of the corresponding latest entry that has updated a particular page. So all these tables are maintained so that the recovery can happen quickly. So fuzzy checkpointing. So a checkpointing process performs certain operations. So it writes a begin checkpoint record in the log that forces updated buffers to disk. Then when the checkpointing ends, it is also written in the log along with the contents of the transaction table and the dirty page table. So those things are also written to log file. So it writes the last 6 serial number or of a log which begin the checkpoint record of a special file. So this is a special file is accessed only during the recovery to locate the last checkpoint information. So to allow the system to continue the execution of transaction, so ARIS uses fuzzy checkpointing. So this method of no, creating a checkpoint, so it is called as a fuzzy checkpointing. So where the checkpoint records are also written into the log, that is begin checkpoint, end checkpoint, along with the last serial number will also be written into the files. So the steps that are performed in during recovery phase by this ARIS protocol will be analysis phase. So in this particular phase, um, it will start at a begin checkpoint record and proceeds till the end checkpoint record. So it accesses the transaction table and the dirty page table so that it has maintained. During this phase, some other records may be returned to log and the transaction table may be modified. So in analysis phase, it compiles a set of redo and undo operations that had to be performed. So by looking at all those checkpoint log file and the transaction log file and all the tables that are maintained, so this particular algorithm will determine which are the operation that has to be uh, redone and those operations that has to be undone. So that is determined. So in the redo phase, so it will start from the point in the log where all dirty pages have been flushed to the disk. So the operations of committed transactions are redone over here. Then in undo phase, it starts from the end of the log and proceeds backward while performing the appropriate undo operation. So for each undo, it writes a compensating record in the log file also, which means these undo operations are also recorded in the log file. So the recovery will would be complete by the end of this undo phase. So here is an example of recovery in Aries. So the first table is the log entry at the point of crash. So LSNs will be maintained, last LSN of this particular transaction. So transaction ID T1, T2, two, three transactions are there, and type of the operation they have performed, on which page they have performed. So these things are maintained like this, and a checkpoint is also added in the log file. So a transaction table will be like this: transaction 1, transaction 2, latest serial, last log sequence number will be written, and what is the status. So again, the dirty page will indicate the buffer that has been updated. So C and B written by these two serial numbers. So this is the transaction table and the dirty page at the time of checkpointing. So after the analysis phase, so the transaction table would look like this. So T1, T2, T3, and the serial numbers, the status, and the pages. So this is just a sample entries for T1, T2, and T3. A multi-database transaction will be there. So multi-database transaction means a transaction that accesses several databases. For example, if we are booking a airline ticket, then it will be airline database. It has to access the credit card database, banking database should have to be accessed. So like that, when we perform any online transaction, there may be multiple uh, organizations to which the database may belong. For example, if we are buying anything on a Flipkart, again there we'll select the products, we'll add it into our cart, and we'll proceed to for payments. So the purchase of a particular product will be recorded in Flipkart database, whereas the payment information is maintained in the bank database. So, but just a transaction number and its status will be maintained at the Flipkart side. So these things, multi-organization based transactions will also happen where multiple databases will be used. So here the transaction will commit only when all these multiple databases agree to commit individually, then the part of the transaction that they were executing. So this commit scheme is referred to as two-phase commit. So that is 2PC short form. So if any one of these nodes fails or cannot commit its part of the transaction, then the whole transaction is aborted. So each node has to recover based on its own recovery protocol. So most of the times when we do online transaction, at times our payment may get failed. So if our payment get failed, then the transaction on the Flipkart will also get failed because the transaction has failed. So here both of them will use their own recovery protocol. And we may also encounter a scenario where um, money gets debited from our account, but still the transaction fails. So in that case, what happens? Our transaction is a failure, but our money got debited. Then in these scenarios, what happens is the banks at the end of the day, they will again scan all the transactions that are happened on that particular day where a transaction has failed. Then they will get to know it is an automated job. No person will sit in front of the system and verify each transaction. So it is an automated task. They will verify once again where the money is debited but the transaction has failed. So then a redo operation is performed. So that is when our money gets back into our account, maybe after 2 or 3 working days, right? So because that recovery, to identify and to recover it in the database side, it takes time. And because they have to process the entire transaction that has happened on that particular day, there will be millions of transactions, and these jobs run for very long duration of time, and that is why it takes 2 to 3 working days to get back our amount back in our account. So in two-phase commit protocol, in the phase one, there will be a coordinator. So usually the application program that is running in the middle tier in a three-tier architecture. So it will act as a coordinator. So it will send a ready to commit um, command. So a query to each participating database, it will be sent, and then it will wait for the reply. A participating database may reply ready to commit only after saving all its action in its local log on the disk. In the phase 2, if coordinator receives ready to commit signal from all the participating database, then it will send a commit signal to all of them. So otherwise it will send a abort signal to all. So this is how the transaction take place. So if Flipkart and banking two database, if we consider, so the coordinator, usually the application will act as a coordinator. So here a coordinator will be application, means it will be the Flipkart side that acts as a coordinator, because that is the one that has initiated the transaction. So that will send a ready to commit signal to our banking side database, as well as to the this our shopping database. So then it will just wait for the reply from these two databases. So if our banking side successfully debits the amount from our account, and it will transfer it to the shopping website account, then it will send a reply that it is ready to commit if everything goes well. Then on the other side, the shopping side will also send these signals. So if on the both databases, if they run the transaction successfully on their respective databases without any hiccups, then they will send the ready to commit signal. They will reply. So if all the participating databases send the ready to commit signal, then only the coordinator will again issue one more command that it will signal the databases to perform the commit operation. So it will send the commit signal only when all databases they send the ready to commit signal. If any one of the database says that it has failed, then it will send the abort signal to all the databases, and all the databases will perform the recovery operation, or they will just perform the redo operation. Okay, so this protocol can survive many type of the crashes, but the only thing is the coordinator should not crash here. Okay, so this is about two-phase commit protocol, where the commit operation is performed in two phases. Okay, so this completes the fifth module. Okay, so from our next classes onwards, we will discuss the relational queries, SQL queries, and the problems based on functional dependency. So these sort of things we will discuss. We will solve the old question papers, and we'll discuss the solution for all of them. So because if you look at any old question papers of exams, so there are many queries that are being asked, problems and functional dependencies that are being asked, and they carry more weightage. And it is these that makes a difference, whether you can clear the subject or not. So in these type of questions, the time required to answer them is also less, but at the same time, they carry more weightage in terms of marks. So they can make a difference in the grade also. That is a significant difference. So these things are very important. So these things will determine whether someone is going to pass this subject or not. So the relational queries, writing ER diagrams, SQL queries, and problems on functional dependency. So we will be discussing these things for all are some question papers that we get. Um, every day we will discuss these problems. All the concepts or the problem, its solution, whatever we discuss, you have to write them in a sheet, and that will be submitted as an assignment for this particular semester. Okay, so whatever we will discuss, whether it is relational algebraic queries or a normal SQL queries or a problems on functional dependencies, whatever is discussed, you have to write it in a sheet or a book, that is assignment, the question, its solution, and finally you have to submit it as a assignment for this particular semester. Okay, so with this we conclude today's class. You can enter your attendance in the chat and exit.